And now we would like to move on to the Q&A section, during which all of you are welcome to ask questions. If you ask the question in Cantonese, we will answer in Cantonese, and then we'll interpret that into English afterwards.
I just wanted to follow up more on some reporting that I'm seeing in the National Post, and they're talking about how they've spoken to someone from the pro-Beijing camp who has talked about how the restaurant and some of the owners hold a grudge against people from mainland China. And they also talked more about what you guys had discussed earlier about how there was, a sign within the restaurant that talked about death curse to Hong Kong police. And they're saying that the owner's behavior shows that they're against Canadian values of respect and safety. Could you react to that allegation that was in the National Post?
Okay, I'm going to translate. Are you asking me to respond or Wyman? Because she is actually the restaurant owner. Maybe I can ask her to respond first, and then I will give my comment as well.
Thank you.
OK， Wyman 啊，頭先咧就 CBC 個記者咧 Chris 咧，佢就問咗兩個問題嘅。佢話第一樣咧就係、佢就話有啲人咧就投訴喺個餐廳嗰度咧就聽到有一啲歧視大陸人嘅一啲嘅言論。咁究竟嘅情況係點咧？咁另外咧，佢就話咧喺個餐館嗰度咧，亦都有一啲嘅裝置啊。咁裏邊咧就係對翻呢個香港黑警咧，係就話即係提出一啲嘅即係好嚴重嘅，譬如一個即係恐嚇嘅言論。佢話究竟呢一個嚟講，會唔會亦都對翻呢個加拿大？即係喺加拿大嘅尺度嚟講咧，呢個亦都係一個唔可以接受嘅一個言論咧。一個歧視性嘅人咧，
餐館係啦，歧視性
有冇歧視性嘅言論？佢即係話喺廚房或者喺個餐館嗰度有，你哋有冇員工或者你哋自己本人或者甚至廚師有冇做過？
冇，全部冇，因為大家都好忙啊，唔得閒討論呢啲嘢。廚房又距離餐房都有10幾尺啦，咁我唔覺得。
Okay. So I have forwarded your question to Wyman. Wyman denied that she and her staff have made discriminatory remarks to any customer, despite their origin, and because all the staff together with the chefs, they are so busy, they don't have any time to make such discriminatory remarks. And then regarding the so-called discriminatory remarks on one of the stickers, first of all, Wyman has told me before that it was a sticker given by one of the customer, because there's a certain section on the cashier table where people can freely leave any of the souvenirs or stickers or postcards regarding Hong Kong there. And the sticker that you specifically referred to, it says there's a curse on those police. They use, the dark police, meaning it focuses on policemen who are engaged in mass arrest, torturing and murdering of the peaceful demonstrator in Hong Kong, or even the gang raping of some of the arrested peaceful demonstrators. So it was not referring to the entire police force in Hong Kong, but only those people who are engaged in police brutality. And it was not, that was not a remark made by Wyman. It's some of these souvenirs, sticker, or postcard left by the customers.
You talked about how you feared that this vandalism was the latest escalation. And I'm wondering, where do you fear this could go from here?
Well, the reason why I have the feeling is because I have been directly engaged in the Hong Kong support movement in Canada. And there are similar incidents that occurred last year, specifically on August 17, when several organizations, including Canada-Hong Kong Link, organized a peaceful rally in front of Old City Hall. There was a well-organized top-down calling of international mainland Chinese students and United Front organizations members to intimidate and harass us as we, hosted our rally and also march at Old City Hall. And we considered this, and prior to that, there were also incitement of hateful remarks on the similar social media and website platforms, calling us pro-Hong Kong independence and saying that we are supporting rioters in Hong Kong, which is not true. And we are only exercising our Canadian constitutional right of freedom of expression. And so during that time, they blocked our way to the march, and they also attempted to attack us, attack some of our volunteers participating in the rally. And I shared with all the media that, this is not this is a reflection of the direct clash between two totally different sets of values, because Canadians and Hong Kong people, particularly those pro-democracy participants, we share a common core values of freedom, rule of law, human rights, and democracy. While the other camp, they are the pro-Chinese Communist Party camp, they oppose to human rights and all these core values. And therefore, it's a direct clash between two sets of values. And at the same time, I also noticed that similar platforms have been used, to spread this kind of hateful remarks and also to incite people to come forward, even to use violence to attack us. On some of the websites, gun or even knives have been shown in the remark, saying that they plan to bring these weapons to the venue where we rally. So I am concerned. I'm deeply concerned about this recent incident, because it shows that this kind of organized hateful remarks and also attack on Canadians have spread from peaceful rallies to ordinary retail stores like the restaurant. And it is a very dangerous development, because it is an indication of a further, heightening of the level, escalation of intimidation and harassment on Canadian soil. And we need to expeditiously, put a stop to it. We should show zero tolerance. And the concerned department should take expedited action to hold those people inciting this kind of action or implementing this action accountable. 呢個咧跟住嚟呢個問題咧係由星島嗰度問你嘅，佢就問你支唔支持香港嗰個民主運動？
支持
嚇，
支持。
你即係自己作為香港人，你都支持。Yes, she said yes. As a Hong Konger, she supports the movement.
I could have one more question, and I'm just wondering if Wyman could answer. How does she feel being kind of the focal point right now of this fight between these two factions?
The factions of people holding different political belief, or what? Could you define factions?
Exactly. So it kind of seems like there are two factions here, the pro-Beijing side of things and the pro-Hong Kong side of things. And it seems to be that the Pepper Wok is really the focal point of these factions. And so I'm curious, since her store was vandalized and she kind of seems to be the center of this ongoing escalation of tensions between the two sides, how is Wyman feeling about that?
Wyman 就 CBC 嘅記者 Chris 咧就想問你一個問題，佢就話當呢個兩個陣營啊，一個係支持香港，一個支持北京嘅兩個陣營咧，嗰個張力啊，或者個緊張個程度咧越嚟越緊嘅時候咧，你啱啱呢個大家好咧就夾咗喺中間，你自己點樣有啲咩感受？你點樣睇呢個情況咧？
咁深我唔係好識，咁深我冇。
哦，你可以講下你自己嘅感受。其實你覺得你自己係即係你想唔想捲入去呢個咁樣嘅漩渦嗰度，或者你自己
唔想捲入呢個漩渦啦。只不過我係表達我想講嘅嘢，
係
並冇關咩北京啊啲事啊。
係。Chris, she said that your question is too complicated for her. she said that she's here to share her experience with all of you, and she doesn't want to be involved in any of such political tension between the two camps. And she only shares her own feeling towards Hong Kong and also her business. Yeah.
Is she scared that she might face similar kinds of vandalism or attacks in the future, or things might get worse? Could you kind of ask her what she's fearing as this goes forward?
OK， 佢話你驚唔驚咧？即係究竟而家呢一種嘅惡意嘅刑毀啊，或者嗰啲攻擊嚟講咧，喺將來會繼續發生，同埋你覺得有啲乜嘢可能會發生嘅情況，即係或者你個感受係點？你驚唔驚咧？
驚㗎，我驚佢會繼續即係越嚟越嚴重咯。
有邊啲人你最驚㗎？你頭先你都有講過一啲最驚，或者你可以同阿 Chris 提議翻，即係
人身安全咯。
係
嚇，同埋驚佢影響到我啲食客咯。
係
嚇咁樣咯。
屋企人
啊，係啦，同埋我有香港有人，我驚影響到我香港嘅屋企人咯。係咁樣咯。而家都香港都好多啲咁嘅情況出現噶嘛，自己
特別國安法
係啦，特別國安法啦，係啦，會影響佢一查就查晒你成家人啊嘛。我香港都仲有屋企人喺度噶嘛。
係。Wyman said that she's gravely concerned about the security of herself, the staffs, and also her family members' security after the vandalism case has occurred, because she doesn't know whether there will be further attack on all of them, and she doesn't want any attack on her customers either. And now because there's also incitement of attack on Wyman and also her family member, and reporting them to the Chinese embassy because she has family members back in Hong Kong. So she's very afraid that she could be arrested when she returned to Hong Kong, particularly under the new national security law, because that is what is happening in Hong Kong right now. Once anybody has been, affected, people around him or her could also be, affected. So I think I gathered that, she is concerned about the further development of the vandalism and also organized attack on people, simple people like herself, and maybe even other similar retail businesses and also community members.
When did Wyman come to Canada?
你幾時過嚟加拿大㗎
？94年。
94年。She came here in 1994.
And when did the restaurant open?
幾時開啊？嗰個餐廳？
你講
大家好。
大家好，2003年。
It was opened in 2003.
Prior to this vandalism, has she ever faced any sort of violence or attack or any kind of vandalism before?
佢話喺呢件事件之前，你以前有冇曾經面對過、經歷過一啲即係惡意嘅刑毀啊，或者甚至係其他嘅攻擊咧？有冇試過？
冇。
No, never. 呢個係星島嘅黃家恒問嘅問題，咁佢就話咧，你自己會唔會覺得你自己嗰間餐館係一間黃店咧？
我諗係啩。
哈哈，咁但係你對客人嗰度你有冇分黃藍咧？因為我諗佢嗰個都係應該係星島所關注嘅問題。
如果唔同意見嗰啲，我唔出聲嘅。即係如果大家唔同意見，我唔會同佢理論，
出聲
係唔會講。
Yeah, she said that you can consider her restaurant to be one that is sympathetic towards the pro-democracy movement in Hong Kong. However, she does not discriminate against customers of different political view because she's not going to discuss about that with the customers who have come in for meals.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi, this is Xiao Xu with the Global Mail. I think
Hi,
it was...
Xiao Xu.
Hi. Hi, Gloria.
Hi.
I think I wasn't very clear about the main reason causing this incident. Was it because of Wyman and her support of the Hong Kong pro-democracy movement, or because of the Wuhan virus sign that was put on the outside of the restaurant?
Okay, is this question directed to me or Wyman?
Or Wyman, yeah.
OK，佢就話咧，究竟即係其實今次嗰個事件嗰個起因咧係邊一種咧？係could you repeat your question again, please?
Because Wyman just said she didn't experience like harassment or attack as before. So was it because her or her restaurant support of the pro-democracy movement in Hong Kong, or because this time like the customers, some customers saw the sign of like Wuhan virus, so that they, you know.
I think I would invite Wyman to say to express her view first, and then maybe I can also share with you my analysis. 佢就話咧，就今次嗰個刑毀嘅事件咧，究竟係因為你嗰個餐廳嗰個立場嘅問題啊，因為係純粹就因為嗰個告示嘅問題引起嘅咧？
我諗都係我嗰個立場咯。咁樣咯。
哦，即係個武漢嗰個只不過係一個藉口嚟嘅。
係啦，我覺得。
Okay, Wyman said that probably it's more related to her position on the pro-democracy movement in Hong Kong, and the complaint about the word Wuhan is probably just an excuse for these people to incite attack on the restaurant.
Okay, thanks. So, Gloria, do you want to add your analysis?
Sure. I think it's a combination. Personally, I feel that it's a combination of everything, because over the last 1.5 years, we noticed that the Hong Kong issue has been a very heated issue in Canada, and the Hong Kong support movement in Canada has spread from the original few cities of Toronto, Vancouver, all the way to different provinces and cities across Canada. And it seems that the Chinese embassy and also the pro-China camp, they are very concerned about this development. And just like what is happening in Hong Kong, they have decided to, organize a series of very well-organized rallies, advertising, or even direct intimidation and harassment actions to counteract, our support movement in Canada. And quite often they have been trying to target at certain iconic groups, individuals, or even now business, right? They pick the Pepper Wok as a start to attack at those businesses supporting Hong Kong. I believe this is just a start, and it's not going to end there, because if if the concerned department, including police, are not going to take any action to hold those people inciting hatred and also malicious attack on businesses because of their political stand, then I think this kind of hate crime is going to spread to other parts of the community. Probably in the future, there will be more businesses being attacked as well. And so we need to nip it in the bud. We need to send a very strong message to our community, including both Canadians as well as foreigners now on Canadian soil, that our government, our community, and also our media show zero tolerance to this kind of intimidation and harassment of Canadians while they exercise the freedom of expression on Canadian soil. I think we need to take concrete actions to nip it in the bud, to hold people accountable for what they have done if their acts are unlawful. And we also need to re-examine our existing criminal laws and also parliamentary legislation to fill in the gaps, to amend and expand the criminal code so that it will not only cover local crime, but it will also be effective to enforce restriction and prevention on intimidation and harassment orchestrated by foreign force. So I think this is something that the Parliamentary Committee on Canada-China relations have been discussing, and I really look forward to seeing concrete action and legislation being established by our government in the near future. 下一個呢就係呢個新時代電台 Eric Fok。
Hello， 我係Fairchild Radio 㗎，你好。咁呢個問題係 for Wyman 嘅，咁我想問下即係而家大陸嗰啲網民就有話會即係做好多惡作劇啦，即係例如打過嚟 order 好多嘢，跟住之後又唔過嚟 pick up 啦。咁呢個餐廳即係 Wyman 有乜嘢嘅措施可以去預防呢一啲嘢咧
Okay, the question from Eric Fok of AM 1430 Fairchild Radio is, Wyman, do you have any measure to prevent false food orders being placed to your restaurant? So what measure do you have? How do you deal with it? 佢仲話有好多人落假單啊，就特登唔嚟 pick up 啊，咁然後等你去即係虧損啊，或者希望最終你倒閉啦。我睇到喺網頁講，咁你而家個餐館有啲乜嘢嘅措施去防止呢類假單嘅事件發生咧？
冇啊！啲人打電話嚟落單，我先問佢個 last name spelling 先，係咪廣東人拼音？如果係嘅，咁就 OK 啦。如果唔係就留意少少咯。
OK。但係你係咪已經成立咗個？你哋而家喺個 Facebook 嗰度落單咧？因為打電話落單。部分都有，唔係嗰個，即係好多人喺我個 WhatsApp 度落單咯。咁有冇問翻你個電話？你可以打翻去check 翻佢哋。都有。OK，Eric 你聽到佢個答案嗬？咁Wyman 佢就話咧，就而家嚟講咧，其實佢話，如果有人打電話嚟落單嘅時候咧，佢會好小心啦，問埋佢個姓啦，咁同埋咧有好多時問埋個電話咧，即係打翻去核實究竟係咪因為有呢個人啦。咁佢而家嚟講咧，就係喺 Facebook 嗰度有落單。咁我諗佢應該你而家都暫時做好多係熟人嘅生意，多數都係。係啊，咁就係啦。咁佢話呢個就係佢而家嗰個措施，因為其實咧而家嚟講個餐館因為 lock down 咗咧，可能落單係一個最主要嘅即係成交買賣嘅一個方式，所以可能咧就係未來都係一個相當具挑戰性嘅時刻嚟嘅。Wyman's answer to Eric Fok of AM 1430 Fairchild Radio regarding her measure to prevent false food orders to be placed on her restaurant. She said that she has been very cautious in receiving such food order over the phone. She always asks the other party's last name ask for the phone number to call back to verify whether or not this is a valid call. And she has also accepted a food order on her Facebook, probably, from people that she's familiar with, because it has been very challenging. Particularly now the city has experienced lockdown. So it seems that food order is the main, means, right, of placing, of getting business from the consumers. Eric， 請你講。
係咁我想 follow up 下咧如果有類似嘅，你有冇諮詢過警方？如果再有類似嘅 vandalism 出現嘅時候，警方會有乜嘢行動咧？或者你自己會唔會即係擺翻個閉路電視啊，去即係影低一啲疑犯咁樣咧
Okay, so what kind of measures have been taken by the, what are the measures that you have taken or plan to take in order to prevent similar vandalism from happening in the future? Say, for instance, are you planning to install a surveillance camera, or is there any measure taken by the police? 咁你而家有啲乜嘢嘅警備嘅措施做咗喺個餐館去防止嗰個即係惡意營毀嘅情況發生咧？
同埋唔好意思，即係有冇諮詢過警方？如果再有類似嘅 vandalism， 警方會有乜嘢行動？
其實警方已經有一啲行動，或者你記唔記得就我或者可以代佢答，因為咧嗰日我陪Wyman 去見呢個約克區警方嘅，咁就警方就話咧，其實而家佢哋覺得咧就嗰個告示咧就冇違反呢個人權嘅，亦都冇歧視人嗰個含義，只不過為咗息事，即係平息個社區嗰個一啲部分人嘅感受啦，咁佢叫佢拎走。但係咧，佢就覺得反為嗰個惡意喺網上嗰個鼓吹一啲仇恨啊，或者攻擊啦，或者甚至係生命嘅威脅嗰種嘅言論咧，係一個非常之嚴重嘅刑事嘅行為啊！咁所以咧，佢哋已經決定咗，就講咗俾我哋聽咧，佢而家咧就派軍裝嘅警員咧加強喺嗰個 Plaza 嘅巡邏嘅。咁呢個係我同佢哋見面嗰陣時候得到。咁Wyman，你哋有冇裝咗閉路電視其他啲嘢咧？
準備裝咯，係。
準備裝佢準備裝。Okay, so the question, the answer from Wyman is that she planned to install the surveillance camera to keep track on suspicious people who attempt to vandalize the restaurant in the future. And at the same time, in her meeting and also in my meeting with the York police station, the police force has also told us that they will send more police to patrol in that plaza to ensure the security of the retail of their vendors there.
好，唔該晒。
唔該晒，Eric。
OK。
Hi, Gloria。
你好。OK。
我知道这件事情发生已经有一段时间了，在华人社区已经很多人在谈论。我想请你置评一下，这件事情对香港移民、对华人社区有什么影响？谢谢。
Okay. This is a question from Michelle Hu of Epoch Times, and her question is directed to me, and her question is, she understands that this kind of incident has been going on for some time in the community, and she would like me to comment on the impact on the Chinese Canadian community. I'm going to answer this question in Mandarin first, and then followed by English. 首先谢谢你的问题。我非常同意，就是说呢，今天发生在那个大家好餐馆这个事情呢，它可能并不是一个独立和单一的一个事情，其实它反映了我们在加拿大这个就是这个华人的社区那儿呢，真的有两种不同的那个政治的理念、不同的价值观呢，一直在互相的对碰。那么当中呢，就是有很多的香港社区的人士，因为他们就是比较支持那个香港的那个支持就是那个民主运动嘛。在一般来说呢， 在本地的市区，他们都会用不同一些和平的方式来表达自己的意见，也敦促我们的那个政府啊，能够做出一些那个相应的政策跟那个措施来支援香港。但是另外一方面，在大陆市区，因为长久以来呢，有很多那个大陆市区的个体或者是那个组织，它是非常严重的受到这个中领馆那个直接或者间接的那种影响，所以呢，在很多时候，他们表达出来的那种反应啊，就对我们支持香港那种反应呢，往往呢，他都按照这个中领馆的那种官方的论调，就是说，香港那个民主运动其实是一个港独的或者是一个暴徒的运动，那么甚至于呢，他也把那个香港的运动啊，比如说昨天晚上我听了，就有一个那个电台，就是一个国语节目的讨论当中呢，有一些打进来的那个大陆的听众啊，他甚至于就是说，香港在这里的香港市区呢，他们支持香港，就好像那个法轮功的运动一样，就把我们跟那个法轮功的运动等同起来。所以呢，你可以看得到呢，就是他们就是污蔑、扭曲在那个加拿大本地香港市区支持香港运动那种立场啊，还有我们的出发点然后呢，我觉得呢，如果要就是解决现在这种紧张的那种市区的那个好像有两种价值观对垒的那个情况，我觉得呢，应该是从几个方面来对待。一个方面就是说，三级的政府应该要加强我们加拿大价值观的那个教育的工作，要令到我们很多的移民那个移民的社区啊，他们真正的能够尊重、接受我们加拿大核心价值，就对不同的那个政治的意见，或者是一些和平的那个示威游行组织等等呢，都应该按照我们的那个宪法一样，采取一个包容、包含的那种互相尊重的态度。其实这个 mutual respect 就是互相尊重的态度是非常非常重要的，因为在我们这个也是我们为什么要移民到加拿大来一个非常主要的原因。我们珍惜在这里那种自由的空气，而且呢，在这里就是有那个法治、有民主、有人权，也有各种各样的自由。所以呢，我就觉得其实市区那个就是在这方面的教育一定要加强。另外一个呢，就是说，我觉得也应该立法来加强对一些违反法律的行为和言论加以制裁，令到这种不符合我们加拿大价值观的那种言论跟那个行为呢，能够把有关的人士跟那个团体，也包括一些外国势力在加拿大的一些代表，如果他犯了同样的那个法律的话呢，我们也应该把他踢出我们加拿大的领土。So basically, the question is asking me, what is my analysis of the tension being built within our community? So my answer is, basically, this tension, it's not really, I mean, it has been existing for quite some time. But it's not really differentiated by, the country of origin where we're from, but rather it's defined by the difference in values that we cherish. So in the Hong Kong Canadian community, basically we share a very common core values as other Canadians. We respect rule of law, freedom, human rights, and democracy. We also adhere to our, core values of showing respect to differences, diversity. We also show inclusion to people holding different political opinions, or even exemplify expressing their opinion by different means of freedom of expression. So I think it is of utmost importance for us to understand that many of the attack on the Hong Kong pro-democracy community, as well as restaurant owner like, Pepper Wok, it really reflects, not only the difference in values, but at the same time, this is also a very subtle, implicit or explicit foreign force at work in Canada. So I think we need to tackle with this problem from different angles. Number one, we need to enhance the public education to encourage all immigrants, regardless of where they are from, to subscribe to our Canadian values, to show due respect to diversity, to show respect to inclusiveness, and also inclusiveness to people despite the difference in color, ethnicity, political belief, or even religious belief. I think this is very important. And that is also the reason why we have chosen to immigrate to Canada, because we treasure all these values. And number two, the Canadian government also need to formulate legislation to effectively provide an effective enforcement tool for the concerned departments, such as police or even our CMP, to hold those people that violate our law and also that violate our core values accountable. That is not only confined to Canadians living here, but it also it could also be applied to foreigners who are, actively inciting that kind of hatred remarks, hateful remarks, or even violent attack on other people, to people holding different political opinion on Canadian soil. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Just one more question for Wyman. Hope to ask her, how is your business these days? Has it been affected at all by this incident?
Wyman 咧呢個問題咧就係由呢個環球郵報嗰度咧就係問嘅時候鼠，咁佢就話唔知道你最近嘅生意點樣，有冇亦被呢個刑毀嘅事件影響到呢？
又好咗，好忙咯，忙到
點解呢？點解？
因為好多香港人支持我哋啊。
即係佢點解要支持你哋咧？你覺得？
因為佢哋都覺得佢哋做得好過分咯。咁佢哋覺得咁樣係懲罰我咯。咁樣咯。
Okay, yeah. The answer from Wyman is that to the contrary, actually her business, instead of going downhill, it has been much improved ever since the vandalism incident, because there are lots of customers or consumers who are sympathetic towards her, the experience she has gone through, to come to support her. And so the business is actually much better than before. So this is something I think even the attacker have not thought of. Maybe I can also share some of my observation, because Wyman is so busy with the business. Probably she does not, she has not observed all has happened in the restaurant. I was in the restaurant a few times recently, ever since the vandalism incident. I noticed that there's a long lineup outside the restaurant, waiting for the turn to, have lunch or dinner at the restaurant. And the lineup was much longer than before. And at the same time, when people came into the restaurant, they always, verbally show support to Wyman and also all the other staffs. And just, I think, the day before yesterday, I also heard from the other owner, that is Wyman's husband, who's the chef in the kitchen, that there was an old lady who came all the way from a very far location to show support to the restaurant owner. She was the very first, that was the very first time she went to the restaurant, and she left 300 Canadian dollars as a donation to the restaurant to support them, because all these consumers or restaurant customers, they are very sympathetic towards the restaurant owners. They felt that they need to show the support to them, because this is a very unfair treatment of them just because of what they believe in. I would like to thank all of you again for attending this press conference and covering this very important incident in our community. It is very important for our media sector to show concern and fully cover and timely cover, all this kind of very well organized vandalism as well as malicious attack on Canadians as well as businesses, right, holding different opinion. Because this is Canadian, this is Canada. We should always show due respect and inclusiveness to each other's differences, as long as what we say, what we do are all lawful. And there's no room for hateful attack, vandalism, or even death threats to anybody on Canadian soil. So any platform that allow the spread of such malicious attacks or remarks or the incitement of violent behavior towards any individual groups or businesses should be censored. So I encourage all of you to keep track on the progress of this incident, because actually the York police station, the York police officers have informed Wyman and me that they are taking this incident very seriously, because according to them, it really reflects a much deeper problem than it appears to be. And they are in the stage of gathering data and also investigating on individuals, groups, or even websites and forums and platforms that have been used as platform to spread this kind of hateful remarks. So I'm quite sure in the near future there may be further development in this incident. At least we look forward to receiving the full report from the York police station, so that as community we get to know who is behind the scene inciting all this kind of hateful behavior and attack on retail businesses like Pepper Wok. And we will also pay attention to the action taken on platforms that have been used as the basis for spreading of such hateful remarks, and also incitement of violent attacks on any individuals, businesses, and groups. And we will keep all of you informed. In conclusion, I would like to thank all of you again for attending this press conference and covering this incident. If there's any further question, you're most welcome to contact me, and I will definitely direct you to Wyman. Thank you very much.